Dr. Amaka, a 30-year-old accomplished physician, returns to her ancestral village in eastern Nigeria after years of working in Lagos. As her car approaches the village, she gazes out the window at the familiar sights of rolling hills, lush green fields, and the river where she used to play as a child. There's a sense of nostalgia mixed with anxiety as she contemplates the reception awaiting her. When she arrives at the village gate, she is met by a crowd of villagers who have gathered to welcome her. The village children, dressed in bright traditional attire, sing songs of praise as they scatter petals in her path. The women ululate in joy, and the men beat drums in rhythm, creating a festive atmosphere. Amaka steps out of the car, her modern attire contrasting with the traditional surroundings, yet she wears a necklace with a pendant that signifies her roots, a symbol of her connection to her heritage despite the life she has built in the city. As she walks through the village, she is greeted by the elders, who step forward to bless her. Each elder speaks words of wisdom, expressing pride in her achievements and offering prayers for her continued success. Amaka arrives at her family compound, a large traditional Igbo home surrounded by a high wall and lush vegetation. The compound is a hub of activity, with relatives bustling around in preparation for a celebratory feast in her honor. The clay huts with thatched roofs, the central courtyard where a large tree provides shade, and the chickens and goats roaming freely. As she steps into the courtyard, she is embraced by her mother, Neoma, a strong and dignified woman who raised Amaka and her younger brother, Chike, after their father's death. The reunion is emotional and tender, with Neoma holding Amaka tightly, her eyes filled with tears of joy. The two women share a moment of silence, simply holding each other, before Neoma pulls back to examine her daughter, making sure that city life has not changed her too much. Amaka's brother, Chike, now a young man in his early 20s, joins them. He is eager to impress his older sister, whom he idolizes. Chike has taken on the role of the man of the house, and there is a playful, yet respectful dynamic between the siblings. As they sit down to catch up, Chike teases Amaka about her city ways, while Neoma gently probes her daughter about her life in Lagos, particularly her happiness and whether she has found someone to share her life with. Neoma said, "My daughter, the city has not taken away your beauty. But tell me, Amaka, have you found what you were searching for out there?" Amaka replied, "Mama, I've found success. I've built a career I'm proud of, but happiness is still something I'm trying to understand." Chike interrupted. "I told Mama you'd come back with a big car and fancy clothes, but she kept saying you'd return just as you left, with a heart full of love for this village." Amaka laughs. "You haven't changed, Chike. Always the one to lighten the mood." The conversation deepens as Neoma shares her concerns about Amaka's single status, reminding her of the importance of marriage and family in their culture. Few weeks later, Amaka is invited to a village meeting, a gathering of the elders and other influential members of the community. The meeting takes place in the village square, an open area surrounded by ancient trees and ancestral shrines. Amaka is given a place of honor beside the oldest elder, a man who was a close friend of her father. The elder's presence is imposing, his voice carrying the weight of tradition as he begins to speak about the responsibilities that come with Amaka's success. He praises her achievements, recounting how the village has followed her career with pride, but he also stresses the importance of fulfilling her duty to her family and community by settling down and marrying a suitable man. The elders begin to suggest potential suitors, each more eager than the last to align their families with Amaka's prestigious status. The pressure is palpable, and the dialogue is layered with cultural references, making it clear that marriage is not just a personal choice, but a communal expectation. One elder said, "Amaka, You are the pride of our village. But remember, a woman's success is measured not only by her achievements, but also by the home she builds. Have you considered any of the fine young men we have mentioned? Amaka responded. I appreciate your concern, but my focus has been on my work. There is much I still wish to accomplish before I think about marriage. Another elder said. A good man by your side can help you accomplish even more, my daughter. Do not delay in making this important decision. As the discussion continues, Amaka feels increasingly cornered. She tries to steer the conversation toward her plans to set up a health clinic in the village, hoping to shift the focus away from marriage, but the elders are persistent. These interactions are filled with awkwardness and subtle humor, as Amaka navigates the unwanted attention with grace. However, beneath the surface, there is a growing tension, as Amaka realizes that her return to the village comes with expectations she may not be ready to fulfill. The following day, Amaka decides to visit the village market, hoping to find some solace in the familiarity of the bustling atmosphere. The market is a lively place, filled with the sounds of traders calling out their wares, the scent of fresh produce and spices, and the vibrant colors of traditional fabrics. As Amaka moves through the market, she is greeted warmly by the vendors, many of whom knew her as a child. They reminisce about her childhood, teasing her about how she used to run through the market with her friends. Amaka smiles, feeling a sense of belonging. As Amaka continues her walk through the market, she suddenly catches sight of a familiar face in the crowd. It's Obina, her childhood friend and first love, who had left the village years ago to study abroad. Their eyes meet, and for a moment, time seems to stand still. The market fades into the background as the two lock gazes, memories of their youthful romance flooding back. Obina approaches Amaka, and they exchange pleasantries, though there's an underlying tension between them. Their conversation is tentative at first, unsure of how to address the elephant in the room, the unresolved feelings between them. They speak about their careers and the paths their lives have taken, but the dialogue is laced with subtext, each word carefully chosen to avoid revealing too much. Obina said. Amaka, it's been so long. I heard about your success in Lagos, you're doing amazing things. Amaka responded. Thank you, Obina. And I've heard about your work too. You've made a name for yourself abroad. What brings you back to the village? Obina pauses. I suppose I needed to reconnect with my roots. There's something about this place that keeps calling me back. As they leave the market and walk along the old footpath leading to the river, where they used to spend time together as teenagers. The footpath is shaded by tall trees, their leaves rustling in the gentle breeze, and the air is filled with the sounds of nature. As they reach the riverbank, the sun begins to set, casting a golden glow over the water. Obina expresses regret for leaving without saying goodbye, and Amaka admits that she never stopped thinking about him. Their exchange is heartfelt, with moments of silence that speak louder than words. Obina continued. I never should have left without a word. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I realize now how much I hate you. Amaka responded. I was angry for a long time, but more than that, I was sad. You were my best friend, Obina. It felt like I lost a part of myself when you left. Obina softly. I'm sorry, Amaka. If I could go back, I'd do things differently. A few days later, Amaka is visited by one of the village elders, who comes bearing a message from a wealthy suitor, Chief Okafor. The elder, a respected figure in the village, speaks highly of Chief Okafor, describing him as a man of great wealth and influence who would be an ideal match for Amaka. The elder emphasizes the benefits of such a union, not only for Amaka but for her family and the entire village. As the elder speaks, Amaka shows her polite smile, masking the turmoil within. She feels trapped between her own desires and the expectations of her community. The elder's words, though respectful, carry a weight of tradition that makes it difficult for Amaka to refuse outright. The elder said, "Chief Okafor is a man of great standing, Amaka. His proposal is a blessing for your family and for our village. He is offering not only marriage, but security and prosperity." Amaka responded, "I understand, elder. But marriage is a lifelong commitment, and I need time to consider such an important decision." The elder continues, "Take your time, my daughter. But remember, opportunities like this do not come often." After the elder leaves, Amaka is left alone to grapple with her thoughts as she walks through the family compound, lost in contemplation. She visits the shrine where her father is buried, seeking guidance. The next day, Amaka meets Obina at the riverbank, the place where they reconnected just days before. With the early morning sun casting a soft glow over the water, the two walk along the river, their conversation light at first, but the tension soon escalates as the topic of Chief Okafor's proposal comes up. Obina, having heard about the proposal, is visibly upset. He confronts Amaka about it, expressing his frustration and jealousy. Obina upset. "So, it's true then? You're considering marrying Chief Okafor?" Amaka responds, "It's not that simple, Obina. There's a lot at stake, my family, the village. I can't just think about myself." Obina still upset. "And what about us, Amaka? Don't we matter? I came back to this village because of you, because I still love you. Doesn't that count for anything?" Amaka is taken aback by Obina's declaration of love. Amaka admits that she still has feelings for Obina, but she is torn between her love for him and her sense of duty. Amaka expresses her feelings. "Obina, you know how much you mean to me. But this is bigger than just us. I have to consider what's best for everyone, not just what I want." Obina responds angrily. "And what about your happiness, Amaka? Are you willing to sacrifice that for the sake of tradition?" The confrontation reaches a climax when Obina, frustrated and hurt, walks away, leaving Amaka standing by the river, torn between her heart and her duty. A few days later, Amaka is standing before the village elders in the square, prepared to make her decision. The atmosphere is tense, with the entire village waiting to hear her choice. Her family, and Obina, watching from a distance. Amaka speaks with confidence and clarity, explaining her decision to reject Chief Okafor's proposal. She expresses her gratitude for the support and guidance of the elders, but makes it clear that her heart belongs to another. She speaks about the importance of love and happiness, and how this should not be sacrificed for the sake of tradition alone. Amaka said, "I am honored by Chief Okafor's proposal, and I am grateful for the support of the elders and my family. But I cannot marry a man I do not love. My heart belongs to someone else, and I believe that love is the foundation of any true union." One elder, on behalf of others, said, "You speak with wisdom, Amaka. We respect your decision, and we wish you happiness in your choice." The elders, though disappointed, respect Amaka's decision. The villagers murmur among themselves, some in support of Amaka, others in disapproval. Obina looks at Amaka with a mixture of relief and admiration. Amaka runs to Obina and hugs him. They both hold hands and raise their hands together. The villagers cheer, clap, and throw fireworks. Back to the family compound, Amaka is greeted by her mother and brother, who express their pride in her for standing up for herself. The family shares a tender moment, filled with love and understanding. Neoma said. You have made your father proud today, Amaka. He always taught you to follow your heart, and you have done just that. Chike smiling. I knew you wouldn't settle for anything less than true love, sis. Amaka and Obinna are seen at the riverbank holding hands, their faces filled with hope for the future. Obinna said. I'm glad you chose love, Amaka. We can build a life together, one where we honor our traditions but also create our own path. Amaka smiling. Yes, Obinna. We will write our own story, and it will be filled with love and happiness. If you enjoyed the story, please like, subscribe, and share.